Welcome back to the dopest show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer, and this is Sasha. I spent most of my 20s in federal prison, but I've been off heroin since April 9, 2010. Got a lot of stories about the dumb stuff I did to get put in prison. I've also got a lot of stories about the crazy stuff that happened when I was actually in prison. And God forbid you end up in prison. You want to make some of the same mistakes I made. This was a wild night. Scared me to death. Oh man, I was scared I was going to get like 20 to life this night. I swear, I was worried I was going to get a life sentence. This was one... Man, some people that, indulge in extracurricular chemical activities, when they take certain things, they blank out. Like, you ever seen someone you know that can't handle their alcohol, like they literally don't remember, like they, expose themselves for something crazy and like they become somebody else and you're like, what just happened? This was that, like, to the 10th degree. Okay. Later on, also, I'm going to tell a funny story. Got a reasonable amount of sleep and enough to function today. A lot more than better than I was yesterday. I'm still tired though. But I have a funny story about last night that I'll tell at the end of this. Yeah, sorry for being a little behind on the comments. I'm also getting ready to speak at a college here soon. I'm going to record if they'll allow. So that'll be pretty wild. I give funny speech. I'm not your typical person. I don't go up there with the speech and like, I come here to speak to you today. Now I get up there and I do it like I do it on here. If I don't have people laughing hard, gasping, and at least 10 people tearing up all in the same speech, I didn't do my job. I've been speaking since I was 23 years old. I've been speaking at various places, from retired teachers associations, colleges, kids, parents, outpatient rehab, and a number of places, and it's fun. It's been a minute since the last one. I usually do it typically more than this, but I have a good time. You don't go in there saying, God, it just took forever for him. So you go in there saying, what did we just see? I don't even know how to feel. The one thing you said was funny. The other thing you said broke my heart. And the other thing I said, like, yeah, so I'll have that recorded. And watch me completely bomb out just because I said that talking about myself. If I read something off of a piece of paper, I'll shake, I'll get nervous. But if I just get up and do it like this, I'm fine. It's the weirdest thing. Like, literally, my voice will shake if I get up there and I read it off a piece of paper. But if I get up there and just do it like I'm doing it, and once I get a laugh, oh man, it's over. Once I get a laugh, I roll off of that. But anyway, so this story was about a guy, Turtle is what we called him. Okay? Turtle and Burnout Bob. This was actually like the first day I ever met Burnout Bob. Okay, Burnout Bob wasn't really a burnout. He was a schizophrenic guy. He looked like just any old normal dude that was in my age group, but like he was really, really. I'm gonna tell it. Okay, so this is at the time that I'm living in the apartment that was owned by that rich woman that would buy the blow and eat it instead of, and her son lived there, and the rich woman, it used to just be an extra apartment that she had like this side guy, and the side guy who was like a middle-aged man, I think he died of a heart attack in the one room, so we ended up living in the apartment because she didn't want to live it anymore since he passed in there, or have it, whatever. So we go and we live there. There's a number of interesting characters at this place, okay? The guy who's her son is just like, he dresses like a rocker, but he's just complete, he was a douche. I mean, he was a arrogant and a jerk, just rude person. Okay, he was my friend. I lived there, but he wasn't a good person. I can say that. Turtle was another friend of mine who got introduced by different circles. And I remember one time he owed me some money, and the guy who I said was the woman's son, the guy, the little entitled prick. Turtle owed me money. He's like, I know how to get him to pay you. How's that? Because Turtle always had me driving out to this place, this pizza place he worked at, dropping stuff off, and I make a good bit of money. But one day he had me go drive him, and he owed me some money. He didn't pay me the money back, and I kept saying, I'm like, it's awkward because it's like, I'm seeing you every day, man. Why didn't you pay me? And I'm getting annoyed. It's my friend. I can't do anything to him. I mean, this is the place I'm living at. I don't have credit. Like, I'm a dealer going couch to couch. Like, as much money as I ever had. I'm relying on this place. Like, if I don't have this place to live in, I don't know where I'm going to go. So I can't do anything to him. And the little entitled dude's like, I hadn't given paid. And I'm like, how? He said, take his medicine. I'm like, that's messed up. I'm not going to take his medicine. He said, it's herpes medicine. I said, where's it at? I went and took it. And I said, I'm going to tell you what, you're going to get your medicine. What are you talking about? I said, I got your medicine. I don't need that money. I'm going to flip. No, we're going to have. And I'm like, I've got a problem with you not paying me. How you think I've been feeling? I've been feeling like you're feeling right now. He said, no, you are not feeling like I'm feeling right now. Give me my medicine. And it was, I probably wasn't feeling like he was feeling. I was annoyed. He was scared. I imagine it's pretty bad without that medicine. So I gave him his medicine. He paid me the next day. We were good there. He was a little bit older than our age group. Hung out with our age group though. And you know, he'd go to a bar every once in a while. We were too young to even go to a bar. You know, so he'd go do that. And I believe it was, I want to say it was like a Halloween party when this time happened. Okay, so he goes to the bar, decides he's going to go out that night. We have a whole bunch of people over to the apartment. Well, they're all over there. I'm out doing runs all day. You know, I'm hustling all day. Like, that's all I do. I'd be back in and out of the house, but I get back at night. There's like 10, 15 people in it. I'm like, man, there's a bunch of people in here. But everybody was cool. Everybody was so nice. And I was like, oh, Lord, because this dude who I'm telling you, the woman's son, the guy who, the little prince, that's what I'm going to call him, little prince, because it was his mom, and he just has a bank account. He go take $2,000 out of it. If I don't make money daily, I don't have a place to sleep or eat. You know, I learned that the hard way, messing the money up one time, indulging and using rather than keeping enough to keep living is a homeless drug dealer. Yeah, it's not a fun life. But anyway, little prince had all these people over, and he even had, later on, there was a time where he moved this middle-aged dude in there with us, like this middle-aged burnout rocker, and he called him like Scott Lee Crew because he claimed like he went out with like Tommy Lee's sister or something. He's like, I've seen the pictures. I never saw the pictures. He claimed he did. He called him Scott Lee Crew, but he got these pills that were basically, there's a medication that's it's not an amphetamine. It's literally a methamphetamine. I think it's Dexedrine or something, or Desoxin, Dexedrine. They give he was a narcoleptic or whatever, and he got that medication monthly. And little Prince let him live in the apartment in exchange for his whole bottle of medication. That's how he paid his rent. So he moved in this rocker guy. Now we got this weird dude living with us, but that's a different point. So it's this, like, I guess it's around Halloween. There's a bunch of people over. They're all nice. There's girls, there's guys. The girls are nice. They're sweet. They're not snooty or nothing. I'm getting along with everybody. And I talked to this guy, and he says, "Hi, Spencer." I said, "Do I know you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I've heard so much about you. I felt like I knew you. I'm Bob." And I had a conversation with him, and we had a great talk. I mean, really nice guy. He is a schizophrenic, though, because I'd heard at another point. That's right. It was before. Okay. Turtle went to the bar after I got back. That's right, because right before he left, he said some mean stuff to Burnout Bob, and I'm going to tell you what Burnout Bob was talking to him about something. They talked about something earlier, and apparently he thinks that when he has his music on, that his neighbors are plotting on him because they don't like his loud music when he drives by. And Turtle's like, nobody's doing that, man. You're in your head. You stop doing this stupid stuff. You're embarrassing. And he leaves, and I'm like, dude, I have douchebag neighbors too. He's like, I know, right? And it was like, I just can't understand people that just don't have empathy for people. You don't know what he is going through, what it's like to live inside of his head with the issues he has. Okay? I just can't understand a lot of people. I'm not a person to do that. I don't like that. But anyway, he's a cool dude. And, you know, he hangs out the whole bunch. It's good he's out. He's hanging out, you know? Instead of being in a house, you know, just alone all day and everything else. I mean, he talking to girls and everything else. I mean, he seemed like he's doing all right. But I felt bad for him because I could tell, like, you had to be careful with what you said because anything you said could make him think, well, what do you mean about that? And it'd either worry him, make him feel bad about himself, or make him possibly plot something. But anyway, I had a lot of empathy for that dude. You know, he was a nice guy, but he really had problems. He was definitely a schizophrenic, without question, from a couple of things that he said. So Turtle went out to that bar, I remember that he said that before he left, because I remember it pissed me off, and I remember saying that, dude, my neighbor sucked too, you know. And it was like he identified, but he's like, I know, right? Because instead of me saying you're crazy, it's not happening, I'm like relating to him. I felt bad for the dude, you know. He's a nice guy, you know. Wouldn't hurt a fly, I don't think, you know. Just he's off in the head. You don't know what he's going through. But anyway, so everything's wonderful. The night's just going so incredibly well. Everybody, it's like the weirdest thing, because I'm used to being around chaos. I'm comfortable in chaos. I know how to handle it. This whole group of people, like, you know, are like nice people, and they're not just addicts that are trying to talk to me because I'm holding. They're just nice people. And it wasn't a normal thing for the little prince to have a bunch of nice people over. It was probably, you know, somebody got their friends and everything. I don't know. I didn't know a lot of the people there, but had a conversation with every one of them. It was like the perfect night. Like, I was talking to everybody. Like, it felt happy. It felt calm. It felt like everything was okay. And it was the first time I'd felt that way in a long time. And it was all shattered to bits. I was in the bathroom taking a leak down the hall. It's an apartment. It's a reasonable size apartment. You know, it's got 2 bedrooms and, you know, a couch for me. I'm the couch surfer. Okay, so I'm in the bathroom and I hear a commotion, you know, stuff banging. I heard one guy go, "Whoa, I'm out." And one girl go, "Yeah, I'm leaving too." And I come out and the door's open and everybody's left except for Burnout Bob, Little Prince, and now Turtles inside the apartment. And he's like not right. Like, he's a normal dude, okay? He grew up in like a rich area of Roanoke. Like, his parents, like, I drove him there once. They live in like a $750,000 house. And, you know, he grew up, like, even with respect and manners, you know, he's a little bit of a douchebag, a little bit arrogant. I didn't get raised like that, so I mean, that stuff annoys me. Little Prince was, oh my God, you'd guess he was a homeless person, but he rich family. I drove him to the bank once, diverting from the story. I was embarrassed to do it. Man, he had a dot starting at the vein on his hand. He had literally, I'd say 50 to 100 dots where he'd stuck in his arm. Wasn't even covered, and he tried to cover it up, put jacket on there, but still, it was impossible to cover. He goes in that bank. There was $2,500 out of probably a bank account that's got probably $1 million in it from his family. And they throw parades and stuff. I mean, his mom, the manic woman, she bought a $60,000 van, drove it off a hill in the snow, then chartered a helicopter to find it. Didn't even take note whenever she left the van that she just bought. She chartered a helicopter to find it. Yeah, they had some money. But anyway, so Turtle comes in and he's being belligerent, like bad. Like, when you have a nice thing going, like a nice evening. I'm not a person that does stuff like that. I'd like being by myself, you know. It just, so many people I've realized just human in general, as soon as you walk away, you get talked about and stuff like that. I just said, nah, I'm tired of all of it. But this was a nice night. Like a bunch of hippie people. Maybe they were hippies, I don't know. You know, they didn't have hairy legs and armpits or nothing. I was looking at a few of the girls in there. They're reasonably looking, and pretty good looking actually. But you know, it's a nice group of people. But they had to be involved in, you know, using stuff. Obviously, they wouldn't be over there. But for all those people to just evacuate an apartment, to say, we're going to let this evening be done because this one guy just walked in. That's the type of state he was in. I would later find out that he'd been drinking at the bar and it sounded like somebody gave him Xanax. That is a drug that is the devil. Okay? All of it's going to lead to bad, but Xanax, there's so much stuff put on every different one, but that one is the devil. The devil. I went back and forth, had addiction issues with about every substance. At every time. I wasn't just one, you know, wasn't just uppers, downers. I had my turn at each one. When one didn't work, I figured I'll try my hand at the other, see if I can make that work. Guess what? None of it works. Same stuff's going to happen. There's going to be a few different, little things that happen along the way, little side effects depending on it. But it's the same story. But Xanax, I don't black out. I woke up one time off Cove Road in the ghetto in a house I didn't know, sleeping on a recliner. I walk around the house. Where am I at? What happened? And I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, my phone's wrong. I lost 36 hours. Man, there's a big old 400-pound white guy with scratch marks down his face. A white girl with a black eye, skinny, pretty blonde girl laying next to him. Then went in the back, there's a Mexican dude with 2 black eyes. What happened? I went and looked at myself, see if I had a black eye. I didn't. That was a wild, separate story, but that's why I don't. It's why I don't. Benzodiazepines are the devil. It's like the hangover. You don't know what you've done. That's what he did, and he came in there. And some people are fun, some people party, and stuff like that. Some people are negative. This was like demonic possession. He came in there and he gets mad and he throws his phone. The battery, I don't know where it goes. He starts going on about we've stolen his phone's battery. Okay, Burnout Bob is like really taking it to heart. I swear I don't have your I don't know. I don't have. Do you want to see my pockets? I said you don't have to show me your pockets, dude. I said he did that. I mean, don't get upset about this. And he's being a complete prick. And Burnout Bob's got mental issues. He's schizophrenic. Well, come in here and start this stuff with him. And I don't know. It's like it felt like a little brother kind of thing about Burnout Bob. You know what I mean? I've always been someone to stand up for people. Like if just somebody's being a prick, that somebody doesn't deserve it. Now, if somebody deserves it, whatever. Lean in on them. There are people that, they got picked on in school. They had it coming. Every time a teacher says something, they got something to say. There's the one that never shuts up. Can't sit through a class without hearing them 20, 30, 40 times. The corny, they deserve it. Then there's the other people that don't deserve it. People that mind their own business, good-hearted, don't mess with anybody. And that was Burnout Bob. So the little prince is like getting sick with it and threatening him. And Turtle walking like he's going to fight. Done took his shirt off. Okay. At this point, I'm probably like 145, 150 pounds. Turtle's about 155 to 160, but he's in shape. I wasn't in shape, being honest. I was, drug addict. Little Prince actually probably about 170, but he's tall. Turtle's about 5'9", but I'd say Little Prince probably about 6'1", 6'2", but just taller basically. And Little Prince is in the kitchen, and Turtle comes ready to fight him. I think he was trying to shock Turtle. I think he was trying to shock him into snapping out of it. You know those like Michael Myers knives, like the butcher's knives? Little Prince took a knife and like bucked on him. Well, normally when somebody bucks at you with a gigantic butcher knife, you back up or you get out of there. You say, you get away from it. He lunged at him, grabs both of his wrists. They are tussling in the kitchen. It sounds like the sound of a jail or prison fight, of the shoes screeching. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like running in, trying to, pop them a couple times, running back out because there's this butcher knife in the mix. And then Burnout Bob ends up in the corner of the kitchen. And there's like a medium, but it's only this high. And there's a table here. And I tell Little Prince, I say, drop it. I'll kick it under the refrigerator. He drops it. I see it hit. I run over, kick it under the refrigerator. It's gone. Well, Little Prince over here, Burnout Bob's over there, and he says something to him like, well, maybe you should just go to bed, man. Maybe you'll feel better tomorrow. He looks mean, looks angry, and all the while he's doing it, there's this giant salt shaker that's on the table. It's like this big, and I unscrew it, and I have it down below my thigh, and I said, leave him alone, man. And he starts talking to him, and he's like, I didn't mean anything. And he's like being more mean and mean to this Burnout Bob dude. And I'm like, you're not going to hit the schizo, man. This guy, for saying that, for giving you a pleasant suggestion, it's actually great advice. He should have slept it off. So he gets ready to lunge at Burnout Bob. What? If it'd been a mini shaker, man, I'd probably hit his chin a little bit. This was a big old, I don't even know where you get these salt shakers. It's a weird salt shaker. But all in his eyes. All in his eyes. Okay. Burnout Bob, I said, run, Burnout Bob, run. No, I didn't say that. I told him, I said, you need to get out of here. He got out of there. It's where I live. I don't have anywhere else to go. I don't have a home or, what all the stuff that their secondary plans that they have when something goes wrong. I don't have that. This is like my only option, and it's like 3 a.m. at this point. I have nowhere to go. And we're like, dude, just please go to bed. He goes in the bathroom, and he's washing his eyes out, getting the salt out of it, and he's got his boxers on. Somehow his pants ended off at that point. I don't even know how that happened. Like, he just, like people on bath salts or something. Little Prince did something really mean. He'd gotten sick of him. Like I told you, he was arrogant, entitled, and he was sick of it. And he's like, man, coming here and acting like this, messing the whole night up, was a good night, which he was right on that. And he walked up to him, and he's in the bathroom with the door open, and he's saying stuff like, 155 pounds I weigh, and y'all can't even do nothing with me. Talking stuff that doesn't even make any sense, acting like he's done something. He's done absolutely nothing except be a douche. Little Prince walks up to him, and he puts his cigarette out on his back. Now, I know that shouldn't be funny. It shouldn't be funny. But when he put the cigarette out on his back, rather than going and running away where he was so messed up, as he was pushing it in, and he pushed the cigarette down for like a full 3 seconds, he goes, ah, ah, and little Prince steps back about 10 foot, and he starts to run at him, but when he runs at him, his boxers fall down and act as like it trips him up, like his boxers were around his ankles and he fell flat on his face. And yeah, we kept trying desperately, saying, just go to bed. Man, we went on and on. This is our friend, but he's not right. This is the kind of stuff that can happen, and you mess around with stuff, when you mess around with drugs and stuff. There's a lot more happen that basically we didn't really take any damage. He took a lot of damage, but he wasn't going to bed. And there was so much noise, I do not know how the neighbors did not call the cops. I really am clueless to that. That was one of my biggest worries. And there's some stuff I don't want to say on here, but it got so bad that I said, I got to get out of here. We've been trying to get him to go to bed, but ultimately, if something ends up happening to him, I've had a part in trying to get him to bed. And what I've done, I'm gonna end up going away for life for this, with good intention, trying to get a friend to go to bed. Said I gotta get out of here. I didn't call their phone. We'll tell you the last thing I did to him though. I did something petty. I can't remember what it was, but I was so mad that I was having to leave my car with nowhere to go. I was furious that I did something to him petty. I can't remember what it was that I did petty. But I remember I had a 20-ounce Blue Mountain Dew. I used to drink those like a fiend back then. And I was going out my car, and he started running at me in the parking lot. And I took the lid off of it. And like I'm not, I wasn't really like, I didn't have incredible aim or anything, but it landed perfect. Messed him up, gave me time to get back away, and everything. And I took off out of there. I'm like, where'd I go? And I go to the gas station. I forgot about this. This douchebag. Okay, this little weed dealer named Lee. I see him at the gas station. He's like drunk and he wants to fight. And I'm like, what? I had told one of our friends. We had a friend named Clay. His girlfriend was messing around with the guy who was previously was my runner. Okay? I was using it that time, and I thought, I'm hearing noises in the bedroom, I think. And I'd said something about it. Like, it isn't right. And there's not a person on the planet that could tell you that I would have hit on his girlfriend while he was in jail. He ended up going to a show. I ended up supplying him with some stuff before he went down there. Made a bunch of money at the show, but he was come back through South Carolina, notorious speed trap. He got caught for weed. He ended up spending like 2 months in jail, 3 months in jail before he got out. during that times when this happened, and I was pissed about this guy messing around like with his best friend in the world's girlfriend, okay? And apparently, like, to make it sound like something else, like she said, "Oh, he's the one that blah blah blah," because I think what happened was Lee said something to her about it, and she's like, "Well, that's funny because he's the one who's hitting on me." And absolutely not. You know, I actually have always been one of those people. I don't hit on girls. I feel like a douche when I do it. Like, I'm one of those ones that, you know, pretty much had to come to me. They have to like me first, you know. And, you know, being scared of STDs after seeing the guys crack with cauliflower, and, you know, in that book of all those horrors that they try to show you about STDs has kept me from getting more than ever imagined in my life. You know what I mean? More opportunities turned down because, you know, statistics scared the piss out of me. But anyway, I just went from that situation to a gas station there, and he's like drunk, coming at me like he wants to fight. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Because I was trying to tell him about what had happened just over there. Maybe, you know, he could have helped or something. But he was, he couldn't have fought. He couldn't have fought a cold right then. He couldn't fought wet paper bag. He couldn't fought nose. He couldn't even walk straight. It ain't like he wanted to fight me. And his girlfriend was like holding him back or something. You know, holding him back, holding him up. He would have fell over if he came at me. And I'm like, can this night get any worse? And after that happened, I put her, that girl, and the guy out there. It made the guy mad because I was friends with the guy. He was still my runner. A lot of times he's like, you shouldn't have said that. I'm like, nah, screw that. Screw that. It wasn't right. And she was saying, I said something. You know that didn't happen. He got mad at me about that. I didn't care. Nah, you're going to put that on me? Lie on me like that? Shame on you. And morals and stuff like that. Your best friend's girl. I mean, don't do that. Put it on me too. Wasn't putting up that. So I went to my mom's house. Their mom was out of town. There was a woman that watched us when I was little, Margaret. And I think I tried to come through the window. She woke up, scared her, and I'm like, told her it's crazy stuff happened tonight. Just need to stay here tonight. I got woken up at like 7 a.m. She says, I talked to your mom. You got to go. And I said, can I just have till like noon so I can find? No, you got to go. I really feel bad because I don't think I like called her a name or anything, but like I wasn't nice, and this was a nice woman, and she was just doing what she's supposed to do, you know. And I didn't know where to go. That happened. That's a really sucky feeling. You're just like, where do I go? So basically, when that happened, you know, it's Walmart parking lot. Wait for the first person to call me, see what they wanted, and then the last person that called me at night, I try to stay there a little too late, and ask, well, you mind if I crash here? And, you know, try to keep it on. I didn't call them back for weeks. I was scared that if I called, I'd get a detective show up at my house and be like, well, we need to know what your part in all this was. So I just didn't call them. I didn't call them. I didn't know what happened to them for probably a month. I was scared to. I thought the other stuff that happened there I didn't talk about, I was sure, I was positive somebody wasn't going to make it. I was positive that's what happened. I kept checking the news. I was scared to death. And it sucked because, you know, as much as I look back at them as being douches, they were my friends at the time, and I thought of them as my friends, and it really scared me because of that. But this night was just awful. Turtle ruined that night. Tried to attack Burnout Bob. Never saw Burnout. That was the only time I ever met that dude. He never came back. Anything else? I don't reckon he came back after that. I don't reckon he wanted to. But nice dude. Nice dude. Cool dude. You know, seemed like everybody liked him. You know, it seemed like he's even flirting with the girls. Seemed like they like him too. So, you know, I hope he's doing good today. You know, like, you think certain people with certain issues look a certain way. They don't. Anybody that looks any way can have any type of issue. Okay, this dude looked like just normal guy, like in our age group. You know what I mean? Just normal dude, but in the inside, can't imagine what it would be like to go through what he goes through. And Turtle was just, man, he was wrong for that. He was rude to him before he left, and that aggravated me. But when he came back and he lunged at him, that wasn't having that. Wasn't right. got myself in trouble more times than I can count sticking up for people since I've been 5 years old. It's pretty much the only behavioral issue in school that any teacher can ever say anything of me. Whenever it was suggested that I was a dealer, I had more teachers be like, stick up for me, say, you got the wrong kid. It's the most respectful, polite person. But I was behind the scenes. Two different lives. But anyway, this was a scary night. And this is the type of stuff that can happen when you're messing around with drugs. So think about that. These things will inevitably come up. There's going to be somebody, even if you're somebody that can function fine, or you think you can function fine. Everybody else probably thinks you can't, but you probably do. I did. There's going to be people that black out and have these issues, and there's going to be these situations. So it's best just not to be around it. It's a lot simpler, you know. Yeah. So just think about that. It's nice to not have to deal with stuff like that today. If it'd been somebody else, you know, could have handled him pretty quick and easy. But he lived there. Everybody knew he lived there. Couldn't make him disappear. Be the first persons they looked at, that they asked. Plus, he's our friend, you know. Pretty reasonable, good guy. Be a little bit of a douche sometimes, but overall good guy. So what were we gonna do? Something happens to him in his living place, and everybody knows I've been staying there, and everybody knows the Little Prince. It's his mom. It's in her name. There was no angle we could have cut that we wouldn't have been the prime people that were looked at. So it was a very tense situation. Lord, I talked to him. I ended up living back there again. He laughed about it, said, I can't remember anything about that night. And I'm like, you can tell I wasn't amused. But he was laughing. I got mad when, like, laughing about it. Thought it was funny. Never saw him get like that again. It's like a one-off. But these things can happen. So be careful living your life, especially if you're living that life. You know, can't tell you to do anything. Nobody could tell me to do anything. You have to do what you're ready to do. But just be careful. Don't have people over that are dealing. That's what ultimately happened with my situation. And just be careful with the situations you deal with. If you're living right, these situations don't come about much, if ever. You know, even in a self-defense situation, me being a dealer, they would twist it and turn it. Now with me living completely clean, if I tie somebody up, make them go sleep on the ground, I can do that because I don't have any. I don't have like an illegal grow operation. I'm not trafficking across state. I don't have any dirt that people can use against me. So if I have somebody like that does something, I can go ahead and smash them. I don't have anything to worry about. Whatever. But when you got illegal stuff, you can't do that. Because when the cops come, they're going to be like, or when people get interviewed and they like, yeah, so-and-so's a dealer. Well, instead of a self-defense like it would be with a typical person, because you're a dealer, it'll turn into something else. I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's nice. It's nice to be able to know that I can smash somebody if they upset me, and not have to worry about it because I've got, like, you know, illegal grow or this or that. You know, it's nice not having to worry. Oh, so nice. Anyway, if you like the video, press the like button. If not, it is 33 minutes and 57 seconds of your life, which you'll never get back. Oh, what happened last night, real quick, sorry. I took my medicine, my sleeping medicine, and it made me start nodding out like a dope addict. That's Seroquel, it's non-narcotic. I took it the last 2 nights, it didn't work, but where I was so exhausted, I was like, I've got more stuff to do, and I was like, before I went to bed, you know, the stuff I needed to get done, and I got like a sweet tooth, so I got like a pistachio, a couple pistachios, a little bit of peanut butter. I was going to get a little slurp of sugar-free syrup. I was in like this delirious, like, sleep medication state. I went to get that sugar-free syrup, and I got a gulp. Oh God, I'm about gay right now. It wasn't sugar-free syrup, it was soy sauce. And I couldn't spit it out because my fiance Casey, I usually do a clean sweep of the kitchen, but she cleaned it immaculately yesterday, so I had to spit it in the sink, and I left the soy sauce in the sink. I was going to throw it out. I was so mad. So then I couldn't accidentally possibly do it again. That was absolutely awful and terrible. Oh God, it's so awful. Ugh. Anyway, that was what happened last night. Slept a reasonable amount, so things are good. Anyway, hope you liked it.